Well, I'm out here this weekend working a little bit more on road rage. You can see it here behind me. I've got this custom dash I'm fixing to put in it. I'm going to put this custom console in there. It'll have front and rear bucket seats. I've been able to get the rear axle in place. Somebody had put the axle in the wrong pinion angle, and I had to change that. I actually had a ½ inch off to one side. I scooted it over the side. When I raised the car up, they had put narrowed wheeled mini tubs in it. And when they did the, where they hooked up in the back, that was wrong. The sides of the gas tank, this was a $600 fuel injection setup gas tank for a '69 Camaro. You can see what they did to the sides of it. They actually just beat that with a sledgehammer, but it still didn't clear. When I went to raise the car up, it about ripped the gas tank out because the spring hangers came down and hit this where they've been moved in for those mini tubs. So I've had to take the gas tank and fill it with water. Cut the ends off of it, fabricate new plates, and I'll show you that underneath here in a minute, and make this right. So it seems like I'm always backing up and fixing something of somebody else's. But I'm fixing to get into my console here. So the console, I've peeled the fabric back a little bit, and I've notched out a corner of it where it goes up under the vintage air unit, and then also a corner of it where I'm likely to do another side of it to fit where I put my fuse panel for my new LS motor installed. And you can see, you can just peel this back, make your cut, then I will glue this back in place and hopefully try to save this vinyl. I wish this thing wouldn't have come with vinyl on it so I could do my modifications and everything I need to do in there to make that fit. But, and this is the centerpiece. So down the center of it, we're going to have a push button start. So this, this will act as my push button start's about that size. I'm going to have it right in here. This will be my transmission controller. I'm going to mount that in there somewhere. I've got my radio bezel, so my radio will be here. Then these are the factory unit air controls that go up on the dash of the Camaro. And I thought that would be a neat look on here, so I was trying to figure out a way I could get them to mount here, kind of like an airplane look, where these controls would be here. Then I got to look, in the '64 Mustang had a short version of this, so I got on eBay and ordered one. And I've taken all the controls out until I get done with this. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount that. Let me move this stuff out of the way. I'm going to mount that right in there. And then I'm going to mount his AC, his window and top controls right here. So, and to do that, I've already figured out where I want it and drilled the holes. I'm going to cut this whole center section out. Then I'm going to make this bolt in and stay right where I want it. I'll wrap this up in masking tape. I'll scuff all this up in here. I'm going to mask mount a little ledge right in here, kind of like that. And I'm going to fill this with foam. I've got expanding sculpting foam I'm going to put in here. And I'm going to make this kind of round to match that. And this will be right in the center of it. And that's going to come right down in there and then fade off in here. So this will be a little bit of a roundness here. And all this will be made into it. So I was going to show you how I do this. So let me get back at it. I'm going to get this cleaned up, scuffed. I'm going to get everything fit on there, and then I'll show you what it looks like. And then we'll put our foam on there, and we'll let that swell up and sculpt it all out. So let me get back at it here. Now this is what I've all done underneath here. Put on the Wheelwood brake system. I've put on a slider link by Competition Engineering. The carrier snubber on there, and got it all in place just like it needs to be. Then back here on the gas tank, I'll show you what I was talking about. They moved their spring houses in a little bit. Let me move my light down here so you can see it. They moved these spring hangers in, and then on the side of that, they just beat that in with a sledgehammer. So like I was saying, I filled this tank up with water, then I cut that out right there, fabricated me a plate, put on it, then I put a liner on the inside of it, welded it solid. Also, one of these hangers was completely rotted out. Now this car was on a rotisserie, and for whatever reason they didn't change that hanger, and I'll show you that in a second. And I had to cut all that back out and fix that. Let me show you this hanger that they left under here. Alright, here's the carnage left behind from that other shop, the beat-in corners. And then this is the end of the frame rail. This was left up in there. This car was on a rotisserie upside down. They painted over that big rust hole. and it's just rusted in the side, so I had to come back and do that, put that section in up under the car, which was a pain in the rear. But let me show you how nice it came out when I got done with it. Get the light in there, you can see it. See, there's a brand new nice piece up in there, but was a pain in the bottom. Alright, let's get back on that console. Now, to get this little curvature and this little plate where I needed it to go, I had to cut out my cup holders. I had to cut out a little area, and I drilled some holes to mount it, make sure it's going to be alright. You can see I put a window in here where I can, my controls will be working right there. And then I've made this little tape cavity here to hold my two-part foam. So I'm going to take this part A and part B of this mixing sculpting foam. This is an 8-pound mix. It actually swells to 8 times its size. So I've got me two parts of it right here. So it's going to be 8 times this size, which is, I've probably got a little bit much. It's going to come out here and look like a big mushroom. I probably won't put all that in there. But what I'll do is I'll put them into a cup, and then I'm just going to mix them back and forth. You really got to make sure you get that stuff mixed up, or it'll leave little tracks of it in there. And then I'm going to pour it in these two little holes, and then it's going to foam up. It's going to be a big old mushroom head. And then I'll show you what that looks like when I get this done. Then when we get that in there, we're going to take it and start sculpting that down, then put glass over it. I was going to do this whole landing down there, but I decided to I've changed this around where I can get by with what I'm going to do down here and not have to change anything, just do this. And then this will be a little area where I hold his cell phones or something like that. That'll be kind of handy. So, alright, I'm going to mix my foam up, and I'm going to put it in here. Now I got it mocked up and level, and I put towels over everything because you never know how big this is going to get exactly. And I'm going to pour these in here. Once you pour it, then you got, it says 45-second pour time, but he gives you a little more now. Alright, it's liking that. Let me give it a little extra stir here or something. I don't know if you can see that cup, but it's starting to get milky. When it starts getting milky like that, that means it's starting to take off. I'm going to give it just a minute before I put it in there because my masking tape is going to leak. It always leaks. So if I just give it a second here, start doing a little something. Alright, now it's starting to swell. So I'm going to go ahead and pour it in here. Try to get it even on both sides. I get some down the center. Get it all in there. Somewhat even. Hopefully I mixed enough, and I'll show you what that's doing. Like baking a cake, it's rising up there. That thing's going to swell up like a big old mushroom here in a minute, and that'll give me something to sculpt with. Alright, I'll show you what it looks like. I'll give you a look at this when I get all done.